think we want to be strong, but
Yes.
our unity seems to be forged when we allow ourselves to be weak.
Yes.
And when we allow ourselves vulnerability, when we share in tears,
yeah.
and then out of that place, we are strong together.
So much fun to be with you guys. These are two of our good friends, Karen and Evan Reedall. We got to work with you guys for a number of years and just have been huge admirers of you, of your marriage,
Yes.
of your family for many years. So we're just glad you're here with us. So thanks for being part of the conversation today.
Thanks for having us. Love
Yes,
it. Honored.
thank you.
Love you guys.
Well, Aaron and I shared just some cooking mishaps that we've gone through in our own marriage. So we just wanted to start there. What's been a funny mishap in the kitchen or a memorable cooking experience for you guys?
It's not as much of a story, but something that we do laugh about and reminisce is when we were early married. Evan used to scramble his eggs using a spoon.
Like
Most-
a metal
In the pan.
In the
In
pan.
the pan.
Okay.
You scrambled it in the
scraping
pan
off so
with one
nothing,
spoon.
everything
Yeah.
sticks
No.
because you've taken
Yeah.
off all the...
Educated people use whisks,
Yeah.
maybe a fork,
Maybe a bowl.
if you're
yeah,
hard
to
pressed.
whisk it
That's a
before you put it in
concept.
the pan.
But he
yeah.
used a spoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I got married in my upbringing. You toasted the toast and then you put cheese on it and then you microwaved it and that's how you made grilled cheese. There was no grilling involved in the grilled cheese. That's what it was. And you don't know until you get married and then somebody else shows you the better way
Yes.
of
That is
actually
not-
making
How,
grilled
how
cheese.
did, how did she correct that, or what did the feedback
First I
sound
laughed
like?
in his face.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, right, right.
That's
Yes.
appropriate.
A laugh, a look, and a gracious, let me show you. This is better.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Let
Another
me
way.
show you. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a little feedback
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go through those exact moments.
for sure. So we're excited to get to talk to you guys about your story. Evan, you're in full-time ministry, which is not easy.
No.
You work with people, and we know working with
Love it.
people
Love
can
them.
have challenges at
Yes.
times. Karen, you are taking care of 3 young boys
Yes.
at home.
Yeah.
Plus, your eldest, William, has cerebral palsy,
Mm-hmm.
and you're the full-time caregiver.
Yeah.
And there's some hard things, but you guys have a phrase in your family that everyone has their own hard.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that and why it's so important for you to remember that phrase?
Comparison is hard for everybody. Everybody struggles with comparison.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for me to listen to people complain about their lives. And I had to come to the place of saying, you know what, everybody's hard is hard. And it doesn't do my heart any good to compare my hard to their hard. And it lets people be where they're at. It just helps. It helps me, give me the grace to give them the grace that they need to recognize that they're going through something hard. And
Comparing stories, comparing
Yeah.
situations. It just, you're right. It takes you down a really hard road.
yeah,
It's tough to recover from. It's
it
easy to go
is.
into
It's hard
that.
to come back
Yeah.
from, and it isolated me, and it made my heart hard towards other people.
Yeah. Then it's not like you can go to a place of empathy around
Right.
what
Yeah.
they're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, someone once said, my dog helped me accept people for exactly where they were at because my dog did that.
Yeah.
Just accepted people versus
Yeah.
where I thought they should be
Yeah.
and how
Ooh.
they should be.
Yeah.
And well, especially
good.
when you have hard in your own home
Yeah.
and then you hear someone else, complaining about something and you're like, yeah, you want to talk about hard?
Yeah.
We can talk about hard, but I think it's so good. You can't compare hard. You can't compare grief and loss.
No,
It's just, it's different
That's it, Erin.
and it's embracing your
And
own
it's theirs
hard.
and it's
Yeah.
ours.
Yeah. How does this look for you, Evan?
Yeah, and even within everybody has their own hard. We recognize our parenting journey with William almost dying, having cerebral palsy now. That's hard. That's our hard. And so when other parents, we're comparing parenting hards, it's just trying to get into that empathetic space of, yeah, this is our burden and you have your own, and how do we understand each other in that space? But we also have our own hards within our own household and marriage. You
Right.
mentioned, well, I'm a pastor. That has its own hard.
Right.
She's a stay-at-home mom with 3 boys, which would be hard enough already. And then
Right.
you have William with cerebral palsy. And so when we come together at the end of our days, it's that seeking to understand each other and hopefully in a caring way of like, hey, I'm home. My day might have been harder than yours. I don't know, but we both have our own hard. So how can we come in? How do I enter and, open the door and give the kids a hug, which it's nice because they're still young enough that I'm the hero when I come back. So that feels good.
Yes.
Daddy's home. You still get
Daddy's
that.
home. I'm the
I don't
best.
get that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
I
when
hear
grow-
that.
I'm soaking it up.
I mean,
So that's a nice welcome. But
Yeah.
then we recognize when we turn towards each other, it's like, what do you need? How can I care for you as I'm re-entering into the household, as you're coming off of a full day with the boys?
and you're good at initiating that first.
Yeah.
It takes me probably 20 to 30 minutes of decompressing once Evan gets home to have that space to look at him and say, how are you doing? How was your day? Because I used to, and sometimes I still struggle with, where did you get to eat for lunch?
Yeah.
And somebody else cooked you lunch. How was that?
How was
How
that? They did the
your
dishes for you,
coffee?
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was, even with my own husband, I was comparing hearts.
Yeah. And a lot of
He
times,
always would lose that one.
right.
How many diapers did you change?
exactly.
today?
Whatever
Yeah.
your hard was, it wasn't with kids,
Yeah.
so it's not
That's
as hard.
right.
But
Right, yeah.
that comparison.
That's a common, though, experience for a lot of couples is the comparison between, I've had a hard day. Well, I've had a hard day. Well,
Yeah.
no, my day was harder. No, mine. We
We
had it. What exactly was our battle? Because it was
times.
stupid
when we
but
had
painful.
small kids, he would
Yeah.
travel and come home and he'd be like, I'm so tired. And I would stand there going, I was with 4 children.
Okay, first
For
of all, the
all the
first
time you're
class
gone, so
meal
I'm more
wasn't even
tired.
that good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
of course I was tired.
So we learned we had to stop
Yeah.
comparing who was more tired. Like we don't even have that
But
conversation
it would
anymore.
take it. Remember, it would so take us to a bad place.
Totally.
Like there was, we'd get into arguments and other stuff, but there was something unique about this conversation.
For sure.
Who did more? Whose heart?
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
They would take us. So we would go from 0 to 60 in seconds.
Yeah.
Into a very bad place.
Yeah.
And it would bother me. I'd be like, why does this happen? Like we both
We're all
have
just
hearts.
looking for validation.
And I was going to say the
Totally.
validation of validate why I can be more tired than you.
Oh.
Well, I was with kids the
Right.
whole time. That's why it's more valid that I'm
Yeah.
tired and I have something
Yes.
else. Well, I was working the entire time.
Right. I had
But
to
you weren't with
teach
kids.
A marriage event
Can
by
they both be valid?
myself.
You got
and-
to sleep in a bed
Yeah.
and not have
Right.
kids waking you up
I
at
was
2
there for you.
a.m.
You drank your coffee while it was hot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a common.
Nobody banged on the
Yes.
door when you were going to the
Roof
potty.
of
Yeah.
my- yeah. So
My
it's
heart
just-
is
You didn't
harder.
see a little
It's a
hand coming
great
into the door.
example. It's just a
All of
good
that.
example of these
All of
kinds of,
that.
conversations.
Yes.
So you're saying for you, Karen, what helps you is to know that I need a little bit of time to kind of
Yeah.
decompress or to
Walks.
whatever
Mm-hmm.
before I can really lean in. I mean, we in the
Yeah.
therapy world we call it compassion fatigue. And so, as you sit with people,
I'll
want to
take
join
that.
privilege like you guys are talking about,
Yeah.
it just there comes a point in time to where you just fatigue
Yeah.
on being compassionate. So it makes sense that you might need a little bit more time
Yeah.
to whatever. Yeah, whether it's taking a walk or something. What,
Yes.
Evan, what do you do?
no
What does that look like for you? Because I know for a lot of, I mean, I'll say guys, but it could be either gender. When we're done with work and we're driving home, I have about a 10-minute commute, so I don't have a lot of time. Erin has, 2 minutes? So, yeah. So this is really important for her. But what have you found is helpful as a way to kind of prepare your heart, your mind to be present, to have that empathy that you guys are talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that for me, the drive home has always been a little bit of a decompressed time.
Okay.
So it's
Do you listen to music? Do you make phone
silence,
calls?
Silence
Do
is
you-
golden. No, yeah, I just whether I'm working downtown or at the North Church building, I have at least 10 to 20 minutes of driving. And I just usually it's quiet because the day has been fast, the day has been loud.
Just
So
have some
so it's
silence.
usually just quiet. And I also know that when I get home, my personality is rather extroverted. So
So
going
you're warmed up and
yeah,
ready.
like having a little bit of a reset in the car, knowing that when I walk in the door, it's usually about taking the kids and giving Karen a little space. So
And I'm introverted. On that
yeah.
extroverted note, I am introverted.
Me too.
Yeah.
Although
And-
knowing I do see, I wouldn't have guessed that.
No.
she's
It's
amazing
just-
with people. She's better with
hide it
people than
well.
I am.
Yeah,
She has her
But-
limits
Yeah.
before I
but
do.
you're saying people
Yeah.
they're
Drain
not
you.
probably recharging you in
Yeah.
the same way
Yeah.
maybe
So
an
if
extrovert
I got a
experience.
20-minute drive break on the way home, it's almost a handoff to where, okay, now I have the kids and you go get a 20-minute break and take a
Gotcha.
walk around the block.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of re-enter to dinner time, whatever is after that,
Yeah.
bedtime. And then,
It's almost like he puts you into time out.
yeah.
Sounds a little bit like
Yeah.
that. Why don't you go into that room?
Yeah.
Just for
But
20
we
minutes?
as
Not an angry
introverts
timeout, it's
would
just a tired
love that,
timeout.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, fine, I'm good. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have once we get that space too, Karen, the
I come
thing
back
that,
around.
yeah, oh,
right?
obviously, always and obviously. But when we get that space, part of it is the need for her of self-assessment of where am I at and what do I need and what have I maybe not gotten that I need through the day because I've been so focused on the needs of these kids.
Yeah.
It was just a couple of weeks ago, and this doesn't happen often, but I got home and I was trying to take care of her, and what do you need? It's a question I ask hopefully every day. And she didn't quite know, and then she took her walk and then came back. She's like, well, I realized I didn't eat lunch today. And I was just floored. I was like, I couldn't even imagine a day
no.
where I
Yeah.
forgot to eat lunch.
Yeah.
That's basic survival.
Right.
I would lock the kids up in the bedroom while I
Yeah.
ate.
It was at my third helping
give
of
my needs.
fried rice.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, I think I forgot to
I
eat
think I
lunch
forgot to
today.
eat because I feel better all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well, you have a lot
he
going
popped
on.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
bread and cheese into the microwave and
Yeah.
fed you.
Yeah.
Offered that. Did
Gave
you
me
take
a
it? Is the
joke
question.
of a grilled
Yeah, and
cheese.
it works less well if we come home and then try to get our own needs. But if we enter that space knowing I got a little break in the car, I can give her a little break now, and we can ask each other, well, what do you need right now? What do you need tonight?
Yeah. And I've had to learn to take ownership of my needs.
Yeah.
And
Which means what? Like, what does that look like for you?
being curious, which I've learned all of this from you guys, but being curious about how I'm feeling and what's going on internally. Because as a mom of even typical kids, there's so much externally going on that it's hard to take inventory of how we're doing.
what's going
Yeah.
on for
So
me? What
How
do
tired
I
am
do?
I?
Yes.
How drained am I?
The best way to help William or Evan help me is to know what I need when I need it, when he gets home, so that we can move through.
Which means you have to communicate.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And how
Yes.
how do you guys foster communication in your home in this season? Raising a child that has some special needs.
Yeah.
2 little boys. I mean, little boys have lots of energy.
Yeah.
We foster it
So we
poorly sometimes.
With safety to fail. Yeah, I've heard stories through the years of the weekly date night, for instance. And we did that for a long time. It's just harder now that there's
Right.
so much going on to say
Yeah.
every week we're gonna have this one concentrated time. And looking more so for us in this season, at least, for the more daily, regular rhythms to say, can we have a coffee time for 10 minutes? And what does that do? And just connecting for 10 minutes in the morning. Can we text each other throughout the day and see how you're doing? There's a beautiful couple named Jim and Martha Cole who've been lifelong mentors for us now. And he's way high up. I mean, I don't even know. He's a partner with some giant global corporation. And in the midst of his busy schedule, his travel schedule, he would always take time to check on her 2 or 3 times a day. And it was always this example of none of our jobs are as stressful and demanding as his job. And yet he still found the time to check in on his wife.
Yeah.
And something similar to that,
perspective.
like if I can check in on her on in the morning, if we can connect over coffee, if we can just touch base a couple times throughout the day, then when we come back together, we're more aware of how have we been all day and now where we need to end
been
well. And then when the kids are down,
recharged.
and then when the kids are down, it's just kind of us saying, okay, where are we at? Like that's the uninhibited time to actually connect because no one else is demanding anything from us at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long had you been married when you had William?
5
It's
years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So married 5 years, and then you have your little William. I remember going to the hospital
Yeah.
Absolutely.
with you
remember
and
that
holding
too.
him
Yeah.
when he was in the NICU.
Yeah.
Such a precious memory.
Oh,
So I know we also have a daughter that has some special needs.
yeah.
I know there's 2 sides to that journey. What are the joys you've experienced in raising William?
Countless.
So many. Yeah, we're just probably just flooded right now with potentials.
Are your eyes getting teary?
Maybe. I don't
Mine
know.
are
He's
too.
amazing. He's amazing. And I think we have a son with special needs, but the first thing that I always think is we have William.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it always catches me off guard when people say like, "Oh, you're a special needs parent." I'm like, "What? What? No, I'm not." Oh,
Right.
yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm William's dad. And
Yeah.
I love that. And he is such a joy.
Mm.
And he is such an inspiration to us, to so many other people. I mean, right now we're 4 weeks in to a 6-week initial recovery from him having multiple
Big
surgeries on
surgery.
hip dysplasia, on hamstrings, on his ankles. And so he's 6 weeks of not weight bearing, and he just hasn't been able to walk or move on his own for
And
6
he's got
weeks.
a blue
We're 4 weeks
foam
in.
pillow
Straps in between
around
his
his
legs,
legs. So he's got his legs out in front of him at a 90-degree angle, and he's stuck in this wheelchair
Yeah,
or the couch.
yeah.
Wow.
And in the midst of that, we've had multiple people come up to us and tell us how inspiring he is, because they're going through cancer treatments. They're going through
Yeah.
some health
Yeah.
something or other.
Yeah.
They broke a leg and they're in recovery and rehab or something like that, and they just see it and they go, if William can do it
Yeah.
with a smile on his face and joy, then I can do hard things too. And that idea of we all have our own heart. They're saying, well, this is my heart, but I'm seeing him with his
Yeah.
heart at 9 years old. I can do this too.
Yeah.
And
I love
he
it
is
'cause
inspiring.
That's like our youngest daughter, Annie, who was born with some special needs. And she's had 18 surgeries, and we just had just number 18.
We're only on our second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well, obviously, then our
nuts.
heart is harder than
compare
your
it.
heart.
Let's
So
compare.
yeah, let's compare.
I don't
Compare
feel.
heart.
Let's
I
do
don't
that.
feel your sympathy right now, Greg.
Yeah, right.
I can't relate to you.
Yeah. I need some grilled cheese to get me there, but
I know how to make it.
yeah,
I'll
you know
get
the
a
right way.
Evan. You can get an Evan.
But it's just you're exactly right. I mean, I just sit there and I'm in awe of just watching her, like if it's, right before surgery, so pre-op, and just her strength, and the fear that she's going through and how she's coping and how she's letting us attend to that, and just how nurses have come out and just said, can we tell you about Annie and what she's meant and how she's impacted. I mean, we had a nurse, this last one, just came out. We were just, we have this little spot at our children's hospital here in Colorado Springs, to where it's a cool little spot. We can just sit there, for hours. And a nurse came out and just was saying, I keep her picture up on my refrigerator just for inspiration. And we had no idea. You're right. It's those little, she's just Annie
That's it.
to us.
Yeah.
And yet, man, I just so admire her strength and her joy that she finds within this stuff, and how quickly she deals with pain, where I'm like, man, I'd be on pain meds for 2 weeks going through what you've gone through. And, she's on Tylenol 2 hours after whatever.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
So Karen, what about for you? What's that joy look like? It's hard to narrow something
I
down.
know.
Right?
I mean, I think I'll look at him
Go for it.
sitting on the couch, just stuck. And he's got a big smile on his face. And the things that he has to face, the hard things.
Yeah.
He's back at school today. And I think another joy has been seeing how other kids love on William, or adults. When our kids have hard journeys, to get to see the community that comes around and supports them.
Yeah.
And we realize we're not the only ones who love him.
It just warms your heart.
Yeah.
When you see that power of community and having people in our lives that
Support.
love our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still smiling and laughing, and he's got big scars, but he's still himself. I wish I could articulate it better, but
That's beautiful.
yeah.
That's perfect.
Totally. And your tears speak a million words.
Are you getting that? Are you getting that?
How tender. And I can imagine even when Greg asked that question, knowing that you're fresh off of surgery,
Yeah.
that
And he's in it right
it's
now.
tender.
So it was like a mean question.
Yes. You're making both of us cry because I get it.
Yeah.
We love your
question.
tears. That's the beauty of being a mom and a dad. It's just how much we love our kids and how we hurt for them. We're so proud of them. We know we can't protect them. We send them back to school. It's great to know there are kids there who are helping.
Not thinking about it's not in my care.
Right.
Yeah, that's hard to release after you've been through something with them so hard. And so you pour everything into them to make sure they're healing and they're safe and they're cared for, and then to release them into the care of someone else is tough.
Yeah.
And it takes the community. It really, we've seen that in our friends and family, in our church community, and even seeing school I think sometimes we have that idea of we're relinquishing some sort of responsibility to somebody else. But if we flip that, I think there's a beauty in saying, no, we're sharing the communal ownership of caring and investing and loving on this kid. And the teachers and principals have been amazing. And and William too. Like we sent him in a wheelchair with a giant pad strapped between his legs, but he got to break the ice with his classmates this past Saturday because we went to a birthday party and they played laser tag. So I'm there. I'm there strapping him up, and I have my laser tag on, and he's in his wheelchair. And then it's all of his classmates and him on one team versus kind of random other people that were there on the other team. But they were so excited to see him. They invited him into everything that they were doing and made sure he was part of it. And then laser tag starts, and they're like, "Let's go, William!" And we're just I'm pushing him around his wheelchair, running around.
How many times did you get lasered?
I got lasered a lot. And so
that's all I care about.
Did you die?
Did you win or not?
I did okay. I not as well as I could have done if I wasn't pushing a wheelchair. But,
well, I like how you guys you articulated, like, your marriage started off with grief.
Yeah.
Your parenting started off with some grieving.
With trial and grief,
What does that look like for you guys? How have you guys been able to grieve well together?
One of the things we've processed a lot in our marriage, and I do through my pastoral role, I also do counseling, is if you don't allow yourself to grieve, to count loss, to feel and count,
to lean into all that.
To like, what are the limitations I'm experiencing, and just know that and feel that and share it, then you also can't get past it to really experience the joys and what is there. And we've seen this in marriages, I think, our own and others. We've seen this in parenting, that there's loss with William and having special needs. As we grieve that, though, and allow that process to keep washing through us, on the other side of it, there's also immense joy.
And then you can embrace both. Both are true.
Not just what he can't do, but what he can do.
Right.
Not just who we aren't for each other, but also who we are. And we've had people in the past try to frame having special needs with the phrase differently abled. And I understand where they're coming from in wanting to focus on being proponents for what kids or adults can do who have special needs. For us, it feels like it hasn't been as helpful as a term as I think the desire and the heart is in it. Because for William, a lot of what we face isn't just this is what he can do, but it's also the phrase special needs is there's a lot he can't do. He has legitimate special needs, which come with limitations, which comes with us having to accept those limitations and grieve through the losses and what isn't true for him, and then try to get from the other side.
What's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't
versus
acknowledge.
Embracing both.
Yeah.
And both is true. Like we signed William up for YMCA baseball last summer.
Wow.
And Karen signed me up to be his coach.
Oh, awesome. Surprise.
Yeah. Well, the box just said, "Are you interested?"
Yes.
Like, well,
Yes.
in the Y world, that means I'm in.
You're in. You're qualified.
There is so much William cannot do. And there was enough that he could do, that he was out there and he was playing, and it was coach pitch. So I tried a couple times to pitch to him. He got 2 actual hits off of me because I was aiming for his bat because he couldn't move it very much. So I was aiming for his bat.
You kept throwing at him, brushing him off the plate. You're cutting the plate, kid.
My other favorite thing was that the other team we were playing probably didn't know I was his dad, so I would hit the special needs kid in the head. You just felt this like,
guy.
Ooh, like, what is this guy doing? And it's like, he's okay. He doesn't get his base either. He doesn't get a free wash.
Yeah, right.
He's okay.
Stop calling 911, you guys. He's my son.
This happened at birth.
Yeah, it's fine. That wasn't my fault. So I'm out there, and we're doing as much as we can with him, also knowing the limitations. So it's both and. It's the tension, and we need to embrace both of those pieces. Yeah. The tension that we live in all of spaces of life, there's so much joy with him, and there's a lot of extra work and hardship and loss and grief. So.
So you talked a little bit about embracing both of those, the what's true for both, the good and the hard, and the wonderful and the tough. What else would you advise couples who maybe are starting this journey? So they've just found out, or they've just discovered that there's a special need that they're going to have to deal with. What are some of those big tips as you look back that seem to have made a big difference for you guys?
I would say community and support.
Okay. Yeah.
So shore that up.
The people you have around you, and not just
like get in church.
Yeah,
they're part of church.
If you don't, look for it. It takes risk and time and investment to find it, but get it.
Good.
Yeah, and not just an idea. And if people are younger and they're just starting parenting, so I'm assuming 20s or 30s, oftentimes we hear community and we think friends and peers, which is true. So yes, and we don't succeed at life with just peers. Yeah. You need a counselor, you need pastors, you need spiritual directors, you need mentors, spiritual mothers, spiritual fathers. Yeah. You need such a wide variety of points of care and support and accountability and wisdom to navigate this life and all of its hardships as best as you can. And so don't limit it to just friends.
Yeah.
What about for your marriage? So for that couple starting maybe this journey with a special needs child, what's one thing that you would tell them, you gotta do this or don't do this, something to keep their marriage strong?
Yeah. I think the way we approached marriage was with a teamwork mentality. And I've always felt like we've done things together, shoulder to shoulder. And so approaching this journey as a team.
I'm going to call back to that Fight Your Way to a Better Marriage resource that was so pivotal for us in the beginning is when we get into conflict and defensiveness, is it an argument to be won or is it an opportunity for intimacy? And all along the way, there'd be points where just because we are feeling unseen or we're feeling misunderstood or we're not feeling cared for or something is going on in our own lives that then that gets brought into the marriage, that they become potential points of conflict because we have so much emotion that we're processing, so much grief we're processing, so much adversity maybe at work or at home or whatever it is we're facing. If we're trying to win and say, this is why I'm validated and it's my heart and you just don't understand, there's not a teammate element to that. We're not being brought together.
Right.
But if we can get out of that and say, actually, I'm feeling weak and I'm feeling overcome or overwhelmed or whatever it is and get into a vulnerable space, then that actually brings about an intimacy in the relationship that says, okay, now we're united again. But it's so...
Then we can hold hands.
Yeah, and then we can hold hands, She doesn't want to hold my hand if we're fighting, which is fair.
Yeah.
But if you hold it, then it really reduces all those... it's good stuff for the brain. But it's,
you know better.
Yeah.
Don't grab her hand or you will come back with
bear in the bear trap.
Some crooked fingers.
But like I think we want to be strong, but our unity seems to be forged when we allow ourselves to be weak.
Yes.
And when we allow ourselves vulnerability, when we share in tears, and then out of that place, we are strong together to champion each other's needs, to champion William's needs. It's a continually reconnecting, revisiting journey for us of how do we stay connected through where we've been, where we're at, where we're going, and we're going to have to do that again. And another day, another week, another month, another year.
Yeah, we have a silly motto. We say better together.
Yeah.
And whatever we're doing, let's do it together.
Better together. Yeah.
There's a famous researcher, John Gottman, who calls that what you do better together is a repair attempt.
Repair attempts, yeah.
And it's just what it often will get things back on track or provide some clarity, levity, whatever.
Look at that, babe.
So you guys are brilliant. Tell you what, this has been a fun conversation that I keep looking at the clock going, man, I'm just lost because I could keep talking with you guys. We could keep talking with you for a long time. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank
just
you
for your vulnerability, for your wisdom, for
your honesty.
Just your relationship. We can tell just watching you guys just how much you love each other. And that's what we want to show people. Is we need to all see couples who we all go through hard. But to show couples who go through hard, who are closer, stronger, better together.
Amen.